seems like a habit that from time to time I go to this specific place and I get sushi. And yeah, I don't know if it's the place that's depressing me or the train of thought. Both. Because both might be the case. Again, to not identify with the mind is something. Because like what else alternative is there? Fucking oneself over. Fucking oneself's life and body over. And terror and despair and sickness and famine probably. And then there's sad and horny. The oldest way to mutate ever. Because another thing is, the mind likes to hear and read what it likes to hear and read. Doesn't mean that assessment is true or a matter of fact. Which then again also means that if one is identified with, oh my god, I'm not getting what I wanted to hear or read, see, there's crazy and incredible punishments, you know? Like telling your daughter all about the horrors of her having been a drug addict. And like, wow. Not enjoying one's own birthday. Because we're so identified with everything. You know? On the one hand, we like to complain about all the sicknesses of the dogs, and then we spend, pooh, I have no clue how much she actually spends on the dogs, but I'm assuming $5,000 in half a year for the dogs. That in order to, by me, the dogs can go. I'm not saying this in a cruel way, because the dogs are sick. They are both sick. One is old and has ouchie every step he does, and the other one is probably has some gene defect. And my mom only makes $1,200 a month. Now there is a fine line between owning a dog and being compassionate and helping them recover. And just overdoing it, because the dogs are not getting healthier or younger. And that holds a quality of identification to it, because that's something we know. Something not even to fix, right? Just investigation of whether we have something to fix. So my mother keeps lying to me, complaining to me. And I'm like, you don't even train the dogs. You're all day at home with them, and you don't give them security that you come back when you leave. And so, yeah. For me, there's a space where, yes, I have the energy, I have the money to support the dogs, to give them a life, or am I the life? What is it that I'm giving up, that I don't care for, that I'm ignoring because I know it's there? And how can I revenge purge my lost time and energy by somebody else's energy place? And that's where I think about the song of The Tool, Sober. where it goes somewhere along. Trust in me and fall as well. I will tear you up and leave. Or something along the lines of, as long as I can have something from you, you're valuable. And once I see that you're no longer valuable to me, I'm gonna throw you into the garbage. And that's where the life fails. That's where the mind takes over. That's where the mind lives. A constant state of who can do what for me and how can I. Instead of watching. Now I've spoken a lot of garbage today. And I'm actually really scared to meet the people that I'm going to meet today. And yet, this is a cold and crazy world, and it's raining outside, which it's not at the moment. So yeah. What else is there to see? Yeah. There's invisible contracts we make with our minds by letting ourselves go, by following the impact of not self people. And the impact is there. Trust in me and fall as well. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. Oh yeah. The impact is there. Nobody thinks about their impact. I get to choose again. To stay aware of the good and bad thoughts and not make them my own, because they're not. Because they're not. Thoughts don't belong to us. There's so much more. far as I have grown up, it was always like, you're a girl, you do as they say. And to my lovers, I always was very devoted, and my son's godhead is Parvati, so goddess of devotion. Marital bliss or not, right? And therein lies to me already the duality for what the mind measures for what to say, for the good and evil. It's nothing for me. It's something I can do, support, suggest for somebody else. For me, for my life, I only have strategy and authority, which is not mine. It's a lot this day. This day is intense. And it always leads me back to, damn, I'm so alone. And all I can ever do is like confront myself with what I cannot control. How good I thought my impact was. And how it wasn't. Or say, how deep it didn't go. And for real, there's nowhere anything should have gone anyways. Which is probably the best part of it all. This is an experiment, a way of a form, a transition form between forms. So I can let it go. Be upset. Fucking thrown down again by the very people who in essence shouldn't. Because if you think of family and all the tribal obeying stuff that everybody does, it's like, don't you want your children to be happy, to be good? What's the definition of good? Well, maybe to not be evil, to not do mad things on purpose to themselves or somebody else. Right? So, what are you living before them? Because yeah, I have deep fears that I might just turn out the same way she's doing. And that's probably the most horrific of it all. Because no. Right. they tell me how horrible I was to them, instead of recognizing all the joys that I tried to have them experience before, all the joys that they all took for granted. Like, yeah, that serves me right. Like, damn. People, you're disgusting. I'm not to be punished, especially not by your sense of ego-mind identification. Because you're gross, you're revolting, you behave like you hate everything. Because I know it's a thing that people like to call themselves enlightened and stuff, within their minds at least, so that nobody can verify it. Right? They're so smart, they're so aware, they're so whatever. And it's just devastating to them when they meet you and you're like, huh, what the fuck was no. And they raise their children by luck, by maybe I get it this time right? Well, how about you start with yourself? How about you let go? Stop thinking about it all, and maybe just start living a bit. Start watching the think happen, instead of trying to make other people think for themselves. Maybe, I don't know. Because I never got this. I never understood. I always was just like, no, that's not the way it is supposed to be. That's the way this goes. And I might have been lucky in the sense of the first 3 years until I wasn't a small child anymore and I had to eat and be in places where I couldn't sleep on my food. So yeah, that was a cognitive shutdown, right? Again, oh my god, I hate this plane so much. I hate it with a passion. And this pain is so... Because people don't want you to hate. It's something that you have to process alone, or whatever. Hit your wife, you know. Don't let anybody else know. Ew, you people are disgusting. You're revolting. And there's no way in heaven or hell that you have any sense. So yeah, learn to let go and watch the life unfold. was not too full of bullshit. My God. I didn't even expect to be called out on that. It's like, I don't, it makes me all nervous in the head. All help. Right. So yeah, and again I'm lucky in that sense. Just very lucky. God damn. And you know what's upsetting to me? It's like when I share how upset I am about different things in life, where my process is, and they are just so upset with their process and they share that then they start talking about whatever happened in the past. I'm just flabbergasted. It's like they wanna bathe in a puddle of their shit, of collective different shit. You know? It's very revolting. Ew. I'm just the one who's on the inside looking out. Who, just would like to do their thing. And their thing is apparently not what people want. For some reason, they still try to call it out. I just don't understand most of the parts in life where there's no love. Well, I understand the biological part. I just don't. Well, I don't identify with them. Oh my God. I don't identify with it. I understand people who drink, who take drugs, who want to end their life a little sooner. I do. I absolutely do. And yet, I've decided to not make my body embrace any more of that pain. Because it does borrow the time from tomorrow. And that's just not a thing I like to borrow. Because luckily for us, death will come. Death will take us all. So yeah, maybe not take everything personal. That people misjudge in you. People misinterpret for themselves. That then leads to distortion and all kinds. That's maybe a good takeaway here. stop over identifying with the upsetness. Because, like, the only one who's going to get hurt if you take that hurt against yourself is you. As a matter of fact. Floofness. You stay away from the wheels. Stay away from the wheels. There's another one. Hello. Ja. Sehr schön. Sehr schön. So the one dog got doubled now. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Bye. Ta-ta.